Welcome one and all to this 59th episode of D&D with me, Mike.
And me, Zoe.
And today we're working on these guys. Still, we need to separate them a bit because now we're going to have to jump over them. So we hit them in the back, they fall over, we jump over them, we end up on the other side. So that's the kind of thing we're going to have to do. It's going to have to be a 2-motion step where the character jumps on top of the other character first, and then the second half he jumps in front of the character's opposite side, essentially. So that's the kind of thing we're looking to do now. And now that I think about it, we can't just fall in front. We need to fall a bit further, because if you fall in front, we may get spiked when the character gets back up. So yeah, we're gonna have to do all of that. All right. Good. Number one, let's sort of separate them a bit because they're annoying now. Sprites, no. Textures, GIMP, map. Good work for blowing your nose before the show. Okay, so let's take a look here. View, show grid. Okay. Pencil. Okay, so let's only, at this point, let's only leave one. Doesn't particularly matter which direction they are facing. There we go. Okay, so Control-Shift-E, entities. And Control-Shift-E, entity info. Yeah, we're gonna have to change this levels tutorial a little bit, by the way it works. So let's see the situation now. There should only be one. There he is. Right, so hit him in the back. Oh, that's interesting. We're not bouncing against him anymore. That's odd. I don't understand it. Maybe they were colliding with one another? I don't know. So anyway, he's hittable in the back. Doesn't make a sound, but that's okay. We're gonna need sounds and all sorts of things, etc. Anyway, let's start. Open project, and let's see. Okay, contextual interaction. This one will be important. So attack routine, blah blah blah, structure transfer, blah blah blah. So okay, so this doesn't change anything. Start mute, start oxygen, start, none of these. Let's try contextual interaction real quick. Buzz, enemy bomb, buzz, throw. Okay, so this is the button A, this doesn't matter. So list attack entities clear. Set trigger attack. Interacting. Yield. No. Stop attack. Okay, fair enough. Now, how do we detect? There should be the attack module. The attack module has an on trigger stay. It adds receive entity from attack. Finally, found. Okay. So there we go. And E start interaction routine. If player is armed, take damage. If not armed, start interaction routine. So E start interaction routine, blah blah blah, interaction routine, enemy shield, get component, get stunned. So that's the one, part number one. Now we know it's an enemy shield, so we know what we need to do. We need to create we need to figure out what the various interactions are, and we need to create one new system here to do this. So I would say void start tart. That means a stupid person. Start stomp on guard or shield. Sure, shield guard. Open close round. Open squiggle, hit enter twice, close it. Now hit enter twice again. Void. Stop. Well, you should know what to do. Go ahead and do it. You don't need your old man to dictate everything. We are preparing the usual coroutine system. Only you're doing the typing.
So everything's 2 times slower.
That's right. You gotta practice. That's what you're doing now primarily. Practicing the language. I'm not even that interested that you know what you're doing essentially. You got caps lock on, by the way. Yeah, open close round. Squiggly. Alright, so let's see one thing. Wait a moment. Let's see one thing here. Start interaction routine. So this bit, who is IE? So we have an interactive entity. I think we should send it an interactive entity too. Or an enemy. Yeah, let's send it enemy. I think that's better. So here type
Enemy E.
Enemy E. Okay. Add another round bracket. I don't know what happened there. And you're copy this as well. Paste it here. Save. So you're gonna need to give the information about the enemy so the routine knows what to do. So we're gonna need a coroutine for this object. So you can create one right here. And whatever you called it, stomp on shield guard. Bit of a mouthful, but okay. Yeah, semicolon. Okay. And you're also going to need some rules.
Oops, I wrote core team.
Time. Okay, so under rules, we're gonna work them here. So let's think. What do you think? What rules will we need?
Maybe how long it will take, how long his stunning will last for?
No, that's controlled by the animation. So what's your goal?
Making the guy go over the
Okay.
enemy.
And then?
And then making the enemy go back up.
That's controlled by the animation.
And making the player not get hurt while he goes over.
So the player needs to go over and then what?
Landed to the
In a
next
certain
tile.
position, right? So you need a bunch of information. What information will you need?
Where he will land.
Okay. Anything else?
A curve. For jumping.
Okay. What do you mean by a curve? What should the curve do?
It should make his angle of jumping.
I don't understand. What do you mean by angle?
Like,
Describe it with your hands or something.
say the guard is right here.
Yeah.
The player has to jump over it.
Okay.
Not
so
walk.
This parabola.
Not walk.
This curve.
Not walk on him.
Okay. So it will decide how high up and what trajectory we have over the y-axis when climbing up. Okay. I can live with that. Anything else? Will you need one curve or two? For this jumping.
I think 2 for how long he will take.
That makes no sense. You'll need 2, one for the first jump when you stomp and one for the other one when you get off.
Oh yeah.
Next.
Forgot we stepped on him.
What else we need?
Oh.
What else do you need? It's not that difficult. Right? So you have a trajectory, that's fine, but what controls the trajectory?
Time.
Time. Right? So you're going to need a certain duration for both the steps. What are we going to use for the time? What type of data?
A float.
That's right. So we're going to need 2 floats, 2 trajectory curves. So 2 floats, 2 trajectory curves. I think we will need another 2 floats.
Oh.
Meaning how high the character is going to go on the Y when jumping.
Oh yeah.
right? What about the positions? Will we need those too?
He's just going forward, so I don't think so.
Well, we are going to need some positions, but we're not going to need to store them initially because we don't define them here. They are defined on the fly. So that's not necessary. Okay, so yeah, go ahead. Open square bracket, serialize field. So you said you want 2 floats.
So first the height.
You're missing the word private. Doesn't make a difference, but the load. You needed 2 of them, so okay.
You need the height.
Yeah, well, you want to be fairly specific, so it's going to be something like stomp, shield, guard, heights. That's not how you spell height. That's better. Now, we got 2 options. You either give it a value right now or set it as default. What do you want?
I'll give the value now.
Okay, so equals new float 2. And now I'm not sure, so let's try with 1 and 1. So go 1F and then another 1F. So that's the Y height on both occasions. Yes, save. Alright, so that's the heights. Now what else do we need?
Now we need the curves.
Okay. Yeah, you need 2 of them.
I think we do curve underscore.
Yeah, curve underscore. And then player stomp, guard. That's probably enough. Shield, rather, shield guard. We forgot the word shield. Can you give a value to these?
Yeah, no. They're
So-
curves. So equals default.
That's right. Minus default is better though. Yep. Okay. Next.
Then I think we need 2 more floats.
Yeah, what for? Can't you just do this?
There was duration.
Type durations. S. Save. Okay, so let's leave it at 1 and 1. We also don't know how long these are going to be, but this is a bit of stuff for now. So that's acceptable. Cool. Now let's go to our coroutine. You should be able to construct this one without difficulty. So a small method to stop the coroutine. When you have detected that the coroutine already exists, which should be impossible, but it's a good system to have. So if it's not null,
And stop it.
What else do we need to do?
Then we need...
There's one more thing you need to do. Stopping a coroutine is not sufficient. What's your condition? This condition you've just checked, what does it say?
It says if it is not there, then make it there.
No,
Wait, then stop it.
and then stop it. But is it still there?
Yes.
So, what do you need to do?
We need to delete it.
Sure, and how do we do that? Look at the condition again. You said it's not there. That's human language. Yeah, done is collect this from memory. Certainly not 2 equals. That's...
Yeah, that is.
Though, to be fair, this is a bit confusing about C#, because other languages use arrows to mean from now on this is gonna become this, whereas you use 1 equal, and yeah, they're very different in meaning. Anyway, so what are you gonna do here when you start it?
We need to call stop, stomp on shield guard first.
Sure. It's a good time to call it then. Next.
And then we need to start it.
Okay.
So core this equals start routine, not stat.
Start coroutine. No, that makes no sense.
Oh yeah, you need to put the actual thing.
Well, you're telling it to start itself, not to mention it, you just turned it to null. So it's gonna start null. Oh. It's not happy.
Player stop on shield guard routine, enemy not code. That's not it. There's no argument given that corresponds to the required formal parameter E of player stomp on shield. Oh yeah, we need an enemy.
Good. I like it when you use your brain. Sounds good. Safe. Alright. So, now you've sent the enemy to the coroutine, you can finally deal with the meat and potatoes. So, one usual thing that we tend to put in coroutines is a passing time float, right? Something that we can make gradual time pass, right? Will we need that this time?
Yes, the time went for we had a duration, so yes, we need it.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously, right, we are animating the thing by moving the character's transform about. So, cool. Use 2 hands, please. Starts at 1 passing time? Why
oh
would
yeah, it equals 0, not 1.
1. Started at 69 next time, I don't know. Okay. Now the second so we got the passing time, and that's good. But there's other things also that we need to we need to use it now, right? So our animation is divided in 2 parts. That means you're gonna need what?
And 2 positions.
Yes. You're gonna need 2 of everything. So what do you usually do next in your coroutine when you're animating something?
Do a while.
You have a while loop, right? So, but you're gonna need 2 while loops. So start with 1 first. You're not there though.
Definitely not.
Tab. And what's the condition?
If passing time is, I think, higher than 0.
All right.
No, higher than 1, higher than 0.
Higher than 1.
Oh.
Higher than 20. What are you talking about? A while loop is something that will keep repeating the code inside it as long as a certain condition is met. So your passing time starts at 0. If you make it higher than 1, it will never trigger, because passing time is 0. If you make it higher than 1, it will never trigger, because passing time is 0.
Okay, so I need to do if passing time is higher than 0.
But I've just told you this will never trigger, you utter potato. At the top it says passing time equals 0, and now you're telling it, as long as passing time is higher than 0, guys, do what's in here. When is passing time higher than 0?
Never, so we have to do lower or equals to 0.
Lower or equals to 0. How many frames will that be done for?
0.
No, 1 frame.
Is that good?
No, it's ridiculous. You need to do an animation that's smooth, that has a certain duration. It needs to go from a certain point to a certain point. This is not particularly difficult. I don't understand why you're getting stuck on this. This is the 2nd night in a row that you get stuck on this. I would have hoped that last time you would have picked it up after we've discussed this, but let's be patient, let's be a proper father and do it over and over and over and over and over again. while is a loop that repeats a certain thing that's between those two squiggly brackets. Do we agree on that? Yes or no?
Yeah.
It has a criterion. That criterion is a boolean. There will be a certain question. As long as that criterion results into a true value, that while loop will keep repeating.
Okay.
So if you're putting passing time as a criterion inside the while loop, what will you have to do to pass in time every step of the loop in order for this loop not to be infinite?
We would have to make it true.
What does that mean? I'll just ask you a question. I don't want you to blabber stupid things that don't make any sense. The question is this. There is a while loop that will repeat a certain amount of things based on a question. If that question includes the concept of this passing time float, which starts at a 0, okay? Mm-hmm. What do you need to do to this passing time float every step of the loop in order to make so the loop eventually exits?
We need to make it have a limit, so that, and then make it go higher.
Okay.
So that it meets the limit.
Finally, we got it. Yes. Finally, we're getting somewhere. We need to make the passing time increment, or whatever happens to it. It doesn't matter. We decide what happens to it, right? Until it reaches a certain criterion when that question becomes false. If you read the code right now, it says float passing time 0 is 0. So you've invented a word called passing time, and you're giving it the value of 0. And then you said, as long as, while, that's what that means, passing time is higher than 0. This will never happen.
Then
so we must make it happen for a certain amount of time, but not forever. What's the criteria?
Then we need to do this becomes this, and this becomes this.
Yes.
Lower
Suddenly it makes a lot more sense. Now I would prefer lower or equal, just to be absolutely sure that we get to that 1. Okay, save. But this makes a lot more sense. Now you have passing time that starts at the base, at nothing, right? And it will, if you increase it every step, it will eventually reach 1. When it reaches 1, the while loop will quit. It will say, okay, I'm done. This means you have a certain amount of smooth time in which a certain thing can happen. Okay. All right, so the first step here is
now
going to be
we need to make it increment.
You need to make it increment. Good.
So
we gotta jog those almonds, guys. We gotta jog those almonds. Ay.
Do we use fixed delta time?
Well, you tell me, which one do you prefer to use and why?
Well, we said fixed delta time has a moves in beats and sometimes skips frames.
Yes. I mean, the difference between fixed delta time and delta time is that fixed delta time is a constant. It always has the same value. Whereas delta time is whatever happens to be. You have a slower computer, your delta time is slower. Your computer has a crap at this time and something goes wrong, it's slower. Or your computer is going stupid fast and then it's really, really quick. So you're going to get a really smooth animation, but it's going to last for a lot more ticks.
Then I guess we'll do fixed delta time.
Fixed delta time is cheap, easy, and dependable. So, okay, so you're multiplying by
we had a duration, so.
So you need you need to divide by a certain duration. Which duration are you going to pick?
We did the first while loop, so we'll do the first duration.
All right, that sounds good to me.
Here it is.
That sounds sensible to me. Is that the first duration?
No, I forgot. This is the first duration.
Yes. Okay, now you can do the final line. I always like to do it this way. So you've got the first line, the final line. What do we need to do in any coroutine?
We need to wait for seconds.
We need to remind the coroutine that it needs to stop trying this calculation. Right? Because if you don't put that yield, what will happen to this while loop?
It'll go on forever.
No. What determines if a loop goes on forever or not? if its condition is true or false. That's what it determines. So if the condition is always true, somehow, then it will go on forever. But what will the condition become? Look at the loop as it's written right now and think of it how it behaves every step. So it starts with passing time being 0, correct?
Mm.
After the first cycle, what will passing time be?
Higher than 0.
Higher than 0, correct. What about the following step?
Higher than the...
Whatever it was before. Will it eventually reach 1?
Yes.
How long will it have taken?
I don't know.
One frame. One frame, because you're never waiting.
Oh, so we have...
It just keeps adding fixed delta time to itself, divided by whatever number. In our case, that number, by the way, is 1, so fixed delta time.
And
so
it will use only one frame, and so we can't do the animation.
Well, the animation will be... and your start end immediately. Which is not what we want.
So we need to make it return so that you have to go back up?
Well, you need to return an object of a certain weight type. Okay? So it waits. And then you can smoothly move the player because the movement of the player depends on passing time.
Okay.
So yield return new, wait for fixed update. I believe you could also yield return a null, and it would work, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure actually. Okay, so now we finally get to do what we want, which is here. Now, who do we need to move and where?
The player to the...
Let's start with that. How do we move the player?
We use its transform to move it using a lerp and curves.
Works for me. All right, let's start typing it down.
Okay, so first we need to put those positions in.
All right.
Because we don't have them.
Good answer. We need the first 2 positions, which we are going to calculate outside
of this.
Of the loop. Our position is not a float, I can tell you that right now.
Oh yeah, it's a vector 3.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what that is. You need to give it a name. I have standard names for these, usually.
Oh, let's start with the start.
Sure. So S.
S pause, like usual.
Yeah. So equals?
Equals new vector 3.
No, you don't need a new vector 3.
We can...
What's the start position? Think first.
Where the player is,
Therefore?
so this position. So just transfer no position.
Correct. You're accessing your own transform because you're on the player and getting its position. That's fine. We have a problem though. Well, first type the epause and then we'll determine what the problem is. So what's the epause instead?
1 tile ahead. No, 2 tiles ahead of where we are right now.
Not necessarily, no. You would be correct if you were doing step 2, but you're still on step 1. The first step is jumping on the back of the enemy.
So 1 tile ahead of where we are right now.
Not necessarily. You could be hitting the enemy from slightly sideways.
So where...
Do you have anything that tells you what the position of the enemy is?
We have E, so we can use that.
Yeah, you could go to E.transfer.position, right? Now, there's a problem though. So go finish it, dot position. But there's a problem.
Which E?
No, you know which E. The E is going to be sent externally, so that's not the problem. The problem is, what is the position of the player? Enemy. Where is it? Think of the enemy model, right? So he's got a shield, he's got the little character. Where is the position of the transform though? Is it on his left elbow?
No, it's like on his stomach, I think.
It's not. It's at the feet.
Oh.
So you're going to have the problem that if you jump there, you're going to clip inside the enemy. You're going to be inside it. So what do we need to do in order... What's our goal here? The position in terms of width and depth is correct. But what's wrong? Right? So if you take the position of this bottle, for example, and we say that the position starts at the bottom here, right? And I say, I want you to jump on the bottle. What you're doing right now is you're doing this. And you're going into the base of the bottle. But that's not what you want. What you want to do is you want to do this. So what do we need to do to the position of the bottle?
We need to make its transform go up.
Well, but we don't want to move the bottle. The bottle's fine where it is.
Is there some sort of pivot point?
You have the pivot point down here. This is the position you're getting, okay?
Oh.
Now, suppose that the bottle is 2 steps high. What do you want to do?
Move the pivot point 2 steps
No,
high?
we don't move any pivot points. You've recorded the position in that vector 3. What are you going to move? Move is the wrong word, but...
The height? The Y?
Yeah, you're going to change the height of the bottle in this case, or in the case there of the enemy. Do we know the height of the enemy?
Yes, because we have E.
No. E doesn't know its own height. Do you know how high from the ground it is when you go on the enemy and stomp it?
No.
Yeah, neither do I. Now, we can figure that out later. But what am I driving at here? We should have a pre-constructed variable, pre-declared variable
For the enemy?
for the enemy height, for literally how tall his stupid back is.
Okay.
Right? So now go back up to your variables and create a float, a serialized field private float with shield enemy topple the height, something like that. Collapsing the entire region would
Oops,
not
I
have been the
didn't
best idea.
mean to collapse the region. I meant to close this.
You go to your rules, there at the bottom, add a rule, and it's going to be a serialized field private float.
Serialized field.
Serialized. So people who can't pronounce the letter R. Private float in flat. Float. And you can call, no, just one, you don't need 6.
Enemy
Wait.
height?
No, be consistent. So stomp, shield, guard, height. I don't really like this name. Sealed. Sealed. Sealed.
Height.
Sjegged.
It's
Yeah,
very
f-
confusing.
Yeah, sometimes confusing. Equals, put it at 1 as well, 1F for now. It's almost certainly going to be wrong, but we're going to fine tune it later. Okay. Let's go all the way down now. Stomp, shield, guard, block. Now what you can do is what? So vector 3 is just a series of numbers. Can we sum them together?
Yes.
Sure. So you need to add something, right? You have the bottle here at the bottom, you need to get it at the top. What are we going to add?
We can add that height.
Yeah. How are we going to do that?
Stomp.
It's now happy. Operator plus cannot be applied to operands of type vector 3 and float. What does that mean?
That means that you can't, that vector 3 and float are not compatible.
Correct. So you need to add what to a vector 3?
We need to add height.
I don't know what that means. Is there a variable called height? A variable type?
No.
Good. So
Vector 3 to a vector 3?
that's right. You need to add a vector 3 to a vector 3. Which vector 3?
Maybe we can do this instead. Not this. Plus vector 3. Actually, new vector 3. Zero. Wait, we have the Z, right? Our Z is our Y, right?
Not in this case. The Y is actually correctly assigned as Y.
Okay, then stomp. Shield guard height. 0. Is that correct?
What do you think?
I think it is correct. You're adding nothing, so nothing to the X, so that's fine. The stomp shield guard height and nothing to the Z.
Okay. Therefore, you're getting this point plus some additional Y, correct? Yeah, makes sense to me. Okay, so we've got the starting position and the ending position. Good. Now, we are going to add, we need to finally do the movement, right? So, how are we going to do that? The first question is, what needs to change?
So, the player's position needs
Alright,
to change.
Therefore, you should be able to type this out right away. You said the player position needs to change. So
Player dot trans. Well, we're in player, so.
Yes. So.
So, transform dot position equals.
Yep. And now?
I said we would do a lerp.
We'll do a lerp. That's correct. But the position is what data type?
The position is a vector 3.
Therefore,
we can do vector 3 dot lerp.
That's exactly what you need to do. Vector 3 dot lerp.
So the
and
start
now you need
one.
a start position and an end position. They're so short that it might be faster to just type them. Okay.
Now we need the passing time. Oh wait. First we need the curve.
Well, not necessarily. Because you have two curves, that's true. But you have two curves that are currently planned for another use. Which is determining that sort of bounce, right? Because right now you have a linear movement. If my screwdriver head here is our player, this is all we're doing for now. What type of movement is this?
This is a linear
movement. Therefore, just put passing time for now.
Okay.
Okay. So we do have the linear movement and close the round bracket. Semicolon. So we do have the linear movement. Right now, this is going to happen. But that's not what we want.
We want to bounce.
This. How do we achieve this?
We need to add that curve somehow. And somewhere.
Sure. Now don't think of the curve as a curve. You need to think of it, the curve you can ignore. What you need to think of that's important is this, what happens here when I do this. So if I'm moving diagonally up, right? This. If I instead want to do this.
You have to go higher.
Higher. So what am I adding there?
You're adding more height.
I'm adding height. That's right. So I'm going to be adding height. But the thing is, I'm going to be adding height starting from 0, right? Then I'm going to go to a certain value, because that's how a stomp works.
And then you need to go back here.
Back to 0, right? So your curve is going to look like this. It's going to look like a curve that starts at 0, ends at 0, and has one bear basically in the middle. That's what your stomp's going to look like. Okay? Well, your job. So that's the curve, and we are going to add it to a y. So let's see if you can figure out how to do it. You've basically just done something very similar, so you could figure out how to do it here too.
So adding. Maybe we could add something to the end position. No.
No, if you add it to the end position, you're gonna end up here. That's not it. So here you have a certain value. I'm gonna give you one hint, which is you want to add it to this value. What do you add? We've talked about it, right?
You said we need to add another height.
Another height, that's correct.
So then maybe we can do something like this again.
Correct. So that will be a good starting point. It's wrong for now, but it's a good starting point.
But not the stomp shield guard height.
Yeah.
We need a different height.
Yeah, but we also need something more. You need a curve to evaluate it.
So maybe we have to do another lerp?
Yep. What are you gonna do? No.
We can't.
I mean, you can do a vector 3 lerp, but I don't think that's a good idea. Because the only thing you're trying to change is the y. So put a lerp in the y.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Lerp.
Yeah, but not like that. You say math f.
Math f.
It's a lerp of floats, right? Okay, now you know the starting point, that's for sure. What's the starting value?
The starting point was 0.
No, I'm not talking about the starting point of your jump. I'm talking now you need to reason like a computer, okay? You can't think like a human being. Stop thinking of the bottle and the movement. You've already coded this. So it doesn't matter. It could be down, it could be sideways. It doesn't matter. You've already coded this. What you're focusing on now is the bounce. And in fact, it's not even directional like this. It's just straight, up and down. Just like if you bounced in real life, straight up. right? You stamp up, you fall down. That's how it works. Okay, so where's the starting point and the end point, by the way, of this additional height?
So the start point would be...
How much height do you want to add at the beginning when you're still on the ground?
0.
That's right. And how much height do you want to add when you reach your target?
1.
No. If you add 1, you're going to be up here. This is your target. If you add 1, you're up here. What do you want to add when you reach the target?
The curve?
What does that mean? You jump in real life. You've done it a couple of times, haven't you? You start how far from the ground?
You start at 0.
You end how far from the ground?
You end at 0.
Congratulations. Right? So your starting point of your lerp is always going to be 0. That's my point. It's just your curve's going to define where on that lerp we're going to be. Okay? But so yeah, that is 0 float. Now what's the other one? What's your target? That's your apex of your jump. That's what that float variable
So
you have
when you're
upstairs
up
for.
Here, and then you... So this is when you're here.
Yes,
Jumping.
and that's your value that you have put together before, which is this one.
Stomp
So copy
shield
it.
guard heights.
Paste it here. Which one? There's 2.
Well, we're doing the first wall, so the first one.
Correct. Now, comma, you need the controller. Now, this one is controlled by that curve. Because your controller is always the passing time, right? But this one is controlled by the curve. Look, because if you don't apply the curve, right? So you've already done this movement, and now you're saying, let's say that the target height of the jump is 1. You're gonna go, okay, I'm gonna add between 0 and then gradually add until 1. So this is what you're gonna get, but that's not what you want. You want to change the movement of this y over time thanks to a curve, and that's what the curve is for. So copy this, paste it here. Which one? Which one first? Now you evaluate the curve by feeding it what?
The time.
Passing time. Close, close, close. No, I think that may be one too many. Yeah, save. Okay, now let's put a bit of order here because it's kind of difficult to read. So back to 3.lerp, that's fine. Now this point, we're going to put it down here.
Okay.
Good. Excuse me. All right.
That's the first part.
That's the first part of the jump that we have done.
And now we need to do the second part.
Yeah, this is the second part presumably going to be very, very similar to this one?
Yes, it's also a jump.
Okay, so we might as well copy this entire thing and paste it here. Now what needs to happen before we get there? There's a few things.
We need to jump on the guy.
Well, we've just jumped on the guy. So this is your guy, this bottle. You've just done this.
So we need to start at the start point.
Which one is the start point?
I meant and the end point. E-pause would be our start.
In which case, you've literally just answered part of the question. You want to change S-pause. So S-pause is going to be equal to?
S-pause is going to be equal to E-pause.
That's good. Write it down. Right there. S-pause equals E-pause. I personally would probably select S-pause equals transform dot position. But in the end of the day, this is correct. So because this was your idea, let's leave it. Right? So what about your E-pause?
Yeah, our E-pause would be here. So that would be 2 tiles ahead of the player.
Well, 2 tiles, I would probably prefer 2 tiles ahead of the enemy, but yeah.
But
So-
2 tiles, you're supposed to end up like you're here on tile 1, tile 2, tile 3, right?
Yeah, no. I think we need to live here and tile 4 even. Because otherwise you're going to get spiked.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Or you might get spiked. We don't want to give that ugly experience to our player, right? So, but we're going to need some kind of method to get that piece of information. We need to know where the enemy is facing because we need the direction. And the magnitude is going to be how large a tile is. If I recall correctly, our map has something that tells us how large a tile is. Thanks to the follow. ILRLE load. I'm confused. Okay, tile size, that's the one, right? So it doesn't particularly matter whether X or Y because they're squares, so it's fine. And we know that the enemy can only face cardinal directions. That's actually really important because otherwise we would need to do all sorts of crazy calculations, right? But this should be fairly easy, therefore. So it's just a matter of calculating the target position, right? So let's go to the player. Now, for the target position, we know a few things. We do know the enemy, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So we know the enemy entity. Does this mean we know where the enemy is facing? Ignore the animation. Remember, the animation doesn't matter. The fact that your character is now facing down, the shield guy is now facing down, is completely irrelevant to everything.
I think we do.
Yes, we do. Now, you probably don't know this, so I'm just going to help you with it. So you're going to say epos equals. You access the enemy transform, so e.transform. Okay. Now, you go dot transform direction. Open round. So the enemy is facing what axis, usually?
The enemy's facing...
So is the player, by the way. Generally in games, which axis is the facing axis?
The one where it faces.
Yeah, that means nothing. You look at your own face. Think about your own face, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or look at mine. It'll be easier. This axis is what axis?
That is the x-axis.
No, this is the y-axis. It's pointing up.
Oh.
This one is pointing...
That one is pointing left.
Well, sideways.
Well, to
Right?
me
So it's... Something that points sideways is?
Is x.
X. That's
Z.
right. Which way am I facing?
Forward. So Z.
Yeah, vector 3 dot forward. That's the Z. Now, what transform direction does is it takes the current transform that you're looking at and then it takes its local forward. So right now, my forward is also the forward of the world, let's pretend. But if I turn around, the forward of the world is still there. My forward, though, is the right of the world or whatever, the left of the world. Okay? So, we now have the direction. Now it's just a matter of multiplying it by the amount of tiles. Now, we said we wanted 2 tiles. So that's the first thing. And we also want the value of 1 tile. Now, X or Y doesn't matter. So let's just go to map.script.tilesize, I think it's called. Script.tilesize. There it is, .x. Semicolon. Now, this is sufficient. Why? Because the position of the enemy is at its feet. So that means we're going to be on the ground wherever that next position is. So we got the start position and the X position, but I'm going to give you a hint. You forgot something here. What else needs to change?
Passing time needs to go back to 0.
Why?
Because of our while here. It's restarting again.
Yes, that's correct. So passing time equals 0. Okay, so we do our first stomp, we do our second stomp, but this is not our second stomp, it's still the first stomp. All
So
of the values are 0, so this one needs to be
1.
This one needs to be
1.
This one needs to be
1.
We're done. Save. Okay,
Now,
so now all of this should be correct.
now we need to call this function.
Yes, but there's more that we're also going to have to do. We need to interrupt the attack when this happens. So that'll be fairly important. But yeah, we can begin with calling it. So receive entity from attack. So here you can say start whatever routine. Start stomp blah 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 blah. Open round. It needs 1 piece of information. What are you feeding it?
The enemy, we need the enemy shield.
Yeah, do you have it?
Interactive entity, enemy shield, but that's not an an enemy, so
We actually don't need an enemy shield, we need an enemy. So,
there's an E up there.
yeah, you've already created it, so just feed it E. Close the round, semicolon. Alright, so that's one good thing, but, actually not but, we're gonna tell this guy to interrupt the attack from before.
Okay.
Okay, so right here at the beginning, we're gonna interrupt the attack.
So stop attack.
I would think so. I have a few doubts though. Let's quickly read this. E checkpoint. Yeah, I don't see anything specific. So we should say that we're interacting, so we can't move. Or something like that. Okay? So stop attack, copy this. And paste it here. Open, close round, semicolon. And here say interacting equals true. And here at the end, interacting equals false. Assuming this is all going to work. Alright, so we should be able to test this. We still don't have the animations in. We don't have any sounds, any PFX, we don't have anything cool.
We also need the
We need to assign
curve.
we need to assign all of these things as well. That's true. So let's go to the prefabs player, and the player has a bunch of new stuff. So player stomp shield guard heights. So shield guard curves, 2 of them. So remember they're stomps. So like this. Okay? And maybe the other one we can do a bit of a more Super Mario stomp. Right? Where we go high and then low.
Okay.
Yeah, go high, stay high, and fall at the end. I don't know that I dig how we're falling here. Yeah, I don't think this should be an elegant curve like this. Alright, something like that would help. Yeah, okay, so 2 slightly different curves. And there they are. Okay, everything's ready. Cool. Now let's give this a brief test. And let's see if at least the movement is working.
Whoa! Bye.
Something has worked. I have a few suspicions why this is happening, but let's first try and see if we get exactly the same behavior.
Whoa!
It's looking awfully similar.
Did he fly into 2 areas? Yes, he did.
I think so. He crossed multiple areas, not just 2. He crossed 3. Okay.
That's one powerful boing.
Yeah, it looks that way. Ah, bloody.
Zip.
So it's always exactly the same. Oh, I know what's happening. We gave it an absolute position. We gave it a position in the world to the player. We didn't give it a position that's relative to where we are now. Okay, so that's a problem. E transform direction. So this is only a direction. Okay, that's fine. But that also means we need to say E dot transform dot position plus the direction. So we start in the current position and then we add that direction over top of it, which means we should get the correct position. Okay. So there's a few problems still that we need to sort out. The rotation of the player, that's something. And also I don't think the jump looks particularly interesting. But it kind of worked.
It'll look more interesting when it...
So let's see if... kind of, eh?
He kicks twice. See?
Yeah, you know that second sound is pure coincidence. The character is actually jumping. He's jumping. That's funny.
Well, he went into the air, so...
Yeah, no, I understand, but...
And it's even correct the time.
Yeah, but it's kind of wrong, because the animation's going to be wrong. We have our own animation just for this, remember?
Yeah. And his shadow is weird, too.
That's kind of odd. But yeah, so it's interesting. We need to interrupt the jumping. That's like disallow it, right? So I'm a bit surprised by this. Let's take a look when the jumping occurs. if not attacking, if not interacting, blah blah blah.
If cardinal, case cardinal none. If downward train state is blah, jump.
Yeah, but that's all non-interacting. This one is if attacking. Is our attacking still true?
We stopped it.
We stopped attack, yeah, but I don't know if it turns the boolean to false. It does. It also turns interacting to false. Aha. That's a bit of a problem. But we're doing it after. Okay. So we're definitely not attacking. So we should be here, not attacking. But we are interacting. So nothing should happen. Jump should never trigger. Something stinks. Okay. So let's go to jump. And go debug.log. Open round. And go attacking space plus quote dash 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 close quote plus interacting. Close round semicolon. Alright, now let's try and see what values we get when we do that. To do that, we're actually going to remove maximize on play, so we can look down here. Okay. See? False, false. We got interacting on false. That's the issue. That's why we're jumping again. But how come that happened? Who is turning interacting on false? So let's look for equals false
Into the current
into the
document.
current document. So stop attack, that's fine. We expected that. Open chest routine doesn't matter. Pick up routine
Doesn't matter.
doesn't matter. Climb ladder routine shouldn't matter. Stop on shield guard routine, that was correct, but it happens only at the end. What the freezer? That's a bit strange. Unless enable attack triggers doing this or whatever, but I don't think so. Okay, I'm having a bit of trouble understanding who's causing it because it's not this and it's not going to be this. Let's look in all open documents just in case. There shouldn't be anything, and there isn't. What in the world? This one does say true. Yes, it does. Okay. How does that work? Unless stop attack happens multiple times. That could be. We may have an error in stop attack. At the end of attack routine, stop attack. Who calls stop attack? Let's look for it. Start mute landing. Could be this. Stomp on shield, that's us. Set up player, that doesn't matter. Jump, call stop attack. Teleport player. Start attack. Attack routine. This one it could be. If it's that one, core attack. Stop routine attack. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. Oh! That's who does it. Our helper, our interactive entity, which is interacted with by the animation helper, receives stop attack. Because remember, attack has a certain duration, right?
Mm.
The problem is we're not triggering the new animation. But that's still not secure anyway, right? Okay, so this is fairly interesting. How do we deal with this? How do we deal with this? Well, we have very, very many options actually. One thing that we could do is we could stomp, like we could create a boolean for stomping or something, but we have interacting. I just am disinclined to do it. One other thing would be to trigger that jump. Do we have it in the animation? I think we do. So let's take a look at the player animation. We have a stomp shield. Okay, so right here, type animator. Yeah, but you got it wrong because you keep on typing things uppercase, Zoe. Oh wait, animatore, it's Italian. Wait, there it is. Player animator dot set trigger, and I think it's called stomp shield. Now quotes, it's a string, capital Zield. It's the evening of the Zields. Close the quote, close the round. Close the quote, close the round. Semicolon. Yeah, so this should interrupt the other animation, but I don't know if it will. That's what's happening here. The other animation keeps playing and it does its thing. Perfect. Now it doesn't jump. Right? Because we need to have our own animation for this. Right, so that's quite cool. Let's see if it's coordinated. Yeah,
Yes.
looks pretty good. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is I want you to hold Control and Shift there on the left and get the other hand banana. And now get ready to hit P. You're gonna hit P when he's about to bounce. Ready? That's way early, but okay. That's ultra early. I don't think we can even see it. Wait a minute. Yeah. It needs to be when he's about to stomp it. Alright? That's better.
I was late.
It's late, but it's better. It's
late.
it's a little over. Okay, so as you can see, we're a touch over. Let's see how badly we're over. Wait, no, leave it.
Boring.
So we're quite a ways over. I also don't like our curve that we're using. We need to use a better curve. Yeah.
I'm just gonna jump on air.
Yeah, let's begin by going to this player and quickly changing the second curve to the normal one. I think this is already going to help quite a bit. Okay. I don't like it, but it's a bit better. I can't see.
Are you watching that
I'm
screen?
watching the wrong screen. So you can see the height is a problem. So the player's height needs to be decreased dramatically when you reach, when you're stomping the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bit weirded out by that, but my bet is the problem is that it should be this stomp shield guard height. That would be my bet. Okay, much better.
Now we're stomping the guy.
Not quite. A bit too high. Because the animation now is dictating.
Now we're stomping the guy.
Closer. I'm a perfectionist, dear.
Yeah, that
it's
would.
on his butt. Poor guy.
Boing.
Let's try and go even lower. There
Now
we go.
it's proper on his butt. Poor guy.
It's funny. Doink. You find it funny? I am. Boink. Okay, so let's see how this looks like from here.
His shield is clipping in the ground. It's not clipping, it's just going through the floor. Next time, don't make a circular shield.
Oh, it's fine. I think it's okay. That it can clip all day.
I'm talking to the guy. Don't use circular shield.
Circular shield, otherwise you clip. It's bad. Bad to clip. Okay, so I don't really like this curve. Let's see if we can make it a bit more oomphy at the start, because I want that bounce to be extreme. Don't maximize. I want to be able to see it from the side, even though. There. I kind of like that better. The animation though could use some touching up for sure. Right? Because that bounce just doesn't feel right.
Needs to be bigger.
The knee comes up too late. Right. We can fix that next time.
His feet movement is fun.
I don't like his fall though. Okay, did you see something
He
interesting?
was doing it sideways.
Yeah, do you know why? Because we're not rotating towards the enemy. When should we rotate towards the enemy? In the first part of the jump or the second one?
The first part.
That's right. The second one should be rotated all?
It shouldn't, because we are already rotated
correctly. That's right. See, if you use your brain, it works. Okay, so let's copy this entire component here. And we're now going to go to the prefab. And we're going to paste it. Current quadrant doesn't matter. It's fine. It always gets reset anyway. Okay, good. Now let's do that rotation at this point. You're going to need quaternions for rotations. So your first quaternion, what is it going to be? Where do you start rotating from?
The position you are in. So
the rotation you're in, but yes. So create a quaternion. And what are you going to call it?
Quaternion Q.
No, call it S rot. Right, start rotation equals what?
Equals where we are right now. So transfer dot rotation.
Yes. Transform dot rotation. That's where we start. Now where do we end? Do you know? Because I do.
Facing the player.
The player? I don't think so. E-rot.
No, not the player. The enemy.
Not right also.
The right
you're facing down. The same direction as the enemy. So you can use E.transform.rotation.
Okay.
Right? The enemy is facing this way, right? Look at the screwdriver, right? You arrive to it this direction. On the first jump, you jump up, facing exactly as the enemy, right?
Yeah.
And then over. Yeah, rotation, so semicolon. So what you can do now here, instead of transform dot positioning, we transform dot rotation. Transform dot rotation equals, and now I'm going to tell you something that I myself don't know about. Okay, so don't even ask me. It's a different type of lerp that's used for rotations, and it's called a slurp. So it's going to be quaternion dot. I don't know. I don't understand quaternions. I don't know them. Okay, slurp. Open round. S rot. Comma. E rot. And in my opinion, this should be just linear. So comma passing time. Close round. Done. So this should now rotate us into the correct rotation. Hopefully. If it doesn't, oh well. If it doesn't, we're gonna look a bit stupid. Ow!
Oh!
I got spiked.
Now you look a bit stupid.
Okay.
Is he taller than the enemy?
No, they're exactly the same model. So it's kind of difficult for them.
Look at the other screen.
Hey! that went well. What the heck?
Huh?
He ain't rotating anymore.
It only happened one time.
Looks that way. I don't understand. And the rotation was totally wrong as well. I don't see any rotation. Am I crazy?
Is it so minuscule that we can't see it?
That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Wait a moment. Let's restart and observe the enemy. So the first rotation definitely was wrong in that we rotated the wrong way. Yeah.
We turned around.
It's kind of funny, but not really what
I'm
we
just
want,
gonna
and
look
it's
cool.
not really working. Right? It's leading to a wrong rotation. Oh dear. Stupid bomb.
It could have gone away from the guy and he wouldn't have exploded
That's
on
so
him.
difficult. I'm playing with like controls that are crazy now.
So that looks like down and it's actually left.
Yeah. So it's kind of it's a bit disorientating. Yeah, so he definitely doesn't rotate anymore. This must mean that the enemy's rotation is wrong. So let's see. There it is. There's the enemy. What's your
0, 0, 0, 1, 0.
But it's forward is that. So we should I'm confused. Unless we're disallowing the rotation, but that shouldn't be the case.
Freeze position, freeze rotation.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. That's the enemy though. The player is also going to have, so he has no freeze position, but definitely freeze rotation, and that's fine. But I'm rotating the transform. So if I do this, you know, it's perfectly happy to do it. You know.
Mm.
See, it rotates in the direction we're going. For some reason, that's not happening. Oh.
He did it.
It just did it after I moved the rotation. Oh boy, look at this. So this is the problem. When we rotate, we don't actually rotate the player. We're rotating the structure,
Oops.
aren't we? Yeah,
Yep.
that's the issue. So you start from structure.rotation. A structure. Structure.rotation. Copy this. Paste it here. Save. Yeah, I think you must press something crazy. I don't know what. Save. So structure.rotation, structure.rotation. Alright. And let's see. And now, all of a sudden, things will make some degree of sense. We were rotating correctly, but the wrong thing.
Yay.
Alright.
Yay. Yay. Yay.
Okay.
Yay. Seems to be working.
Yeah, pretty good. There.
It's good that
You
he
kick
looked.
him in the butt.
Okay.
Good luck.
If I forget the...
B.
I thought this was B because I'm playing the Switch.
Boink. Kick him in the butt. Ow! So you kick him in the butt, you whiff him in the butt, and then you kick him in the butt, and then you stomp on his butt. Poor guy. That looked like you went there with gusto. Boom!
Who's Gusto?
Well, gusto is an Italian word, gusto, which means a taste, and it's basically if you do it with flavor, with verb.
Oops. Best.
If you hit the enemy strong, poor enemy fall
There.
on his butt, hurt very much. Doink. Ow! Yeah, so we need to add.
We need to add him saying, ow!
We need to add all sorts of sounds. Yeah. Shall we do one last thing real quick?
What?
I want to fix that shield. It annoys me that you can see through the ground.
Oh.
Yeah. So model.
How dare you have a circular shield, guy?
Yeah. You evil little mongrel, you. Okay. So this shield in here, and by the way, this is gonna save us some polys. Is very, 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 very much very. There's so much in here. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna grab. Where are you? This. Thanks. So only select the internal ones. Apparently I cannot. This is annoying. Okay, I'm gonna mark seam. Like this. Even though it's wrong, but that's okay. Now I'm gonna select all of these. Delete faces. In fact, I should have deleted vertices. Delete vertices. And now this. Extrude. Scale. Made mistake. Let's go back a few steps. No, this should be correct. If I delete the vertices for this guy, we're missing one vertex here. That's kind of what happened. Okay. Now limited dissolve, so we get rid of some of these stupid things. Oh, do you know that recently I discovered a bug with n-gons in Unity?
Oh, no, I didn't.
hate n-gons.
Oh, why?
Because they always get in the way. There's loads of calculation errors that happen because of them.
Mm.
Something like this.
Making a black hole.
And then EWMC. There we go. So voxel art, not really, but but it'll do. Yes.
Plus, we can't even see that much.
Yeah, it's fine. So we can save this now.
The outside is voxels.
And now let's see if we fixed all of the clipping.
Now I'll kick that guy in the butt.
Wait, let me maximize this time. Go kick him in the butt.
Okay.
Poor guy.
Hey. Wow.
Yeah, fixed.
Oops.
Boing. There we go. Done. All right. I'm satisfied today. You thought you've reasoned quite a bit. There's hope for you.
Oops.
No, there isn't.
Oops.
Goodbye. Eat it. Okay. Cool. So we are gonna say thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time while Zoe is about to get
escaped.
Bye bye.
Bye.